welcome to this 10-minute video we're going to be doing on globalisation and commercialisation of sport. So basically we're just going to give you an insight to our chosen sport, which is football, and we're going to be talking about the history of football, just how it's through the years it's got more commercial and it's globalised into a bigger industry, whereas when it was in the older days it was more about the actual football, but nowadays it's about commercialisation and the industry's growing. And we're just going to give some content on commercialisation, like I said, some content on globalisation, and then a bit about history and some theory along the way. So I'm going to talk about the 6 characteristics of commercialisation. I said about, one of the characteristics are that, commercialisation, it helps pay some of the athletes, to compete in the sport. Like, for example, the Olympics, you look at Jessica Hill, you look at Mo Farah, like they get a lot of money from how commercial the sport's got and sponsors, and, in cricket you've got Adidas, and people are sponsoring, shirts, just like this hat we've got sponsored by Reebok, and then other thing would be there's a substantial income, from commercialisation. You've got your gate receipts, TV rights, your sponsorship money. For example, Liverpool have started now sleeves. Then one of the first clubs in the Premier League to get their sleeves sponsored, and it all comes down to money. That's the thing. And then it provides entertainment. It's entertaining. You just don't know what's going to happen, and that's all.
Now I'm going to speak about the principles of commercialisation and the mass spectator appeal. So for example, at Anfield in the 1980s there used to be 40,000 people on average for each home game, and now it's changed to upwards of 53,000. The changes in the spectators means more people going over the gates, more people paying, which makes the income for Liverpool Football Club massive. So as a result of that, they've managed to pay for a new stand that can now hold over 60,000. So they'll keep moving onwards and upwards and can start to use the income for many more things. For example, transfer budget, coaches, better facilities, better pre-season camps, all sorts of stuff like that. And now we're going to move on to the globalisation of sport, and how it has had a massive impact upon many sports, in particular football. First of all, I've got to talk about, as Menery said, about pre-season tours. Most English clubs have pre-season tours around the likes of Asia, Australasia, Africa, places like that. That's because they have a massive fan base that is keep growing massively and keep increasing the fan base. For example, Liverpool this season had a pre-season tour in Sydney. That's because a lot of Australians are Liverpool fans, and they actually have their own groups that either congregate in a bar at 4 o'clock in the morning when Liverpool playing a 3 PM kickoff in England, or they actually fly over to games to come and watch them. So this has a massive, this will have a massive impact on Liverpool, and I imagine that they'll keep doing this year in, year out, to make sure that they keep growing the fan base, making sure Australians are buying shirts at $80-90 a shirt, however much it costs them, and that money will all go back to Liverpool and help them grow as a club.
Thanks to John there for some very good quotes and theory. But to conclude, I'm going to talk about how I think commercialization and globalization it's improved the sport. But we're going to the six characteristics again. It's made more money with the gate receipts. It's paid athletes. It's an entertainment factor as well. Like the commercial side, with things like the Belfast Giants game, hometown Belfast. They shoot the subways out, the subway guns. The sponsorship of Subway doing that, and for the wee kids, I love it. They're fighting over the subway. Sometimes it may get too violent, but that's all part of the fun, part of the games, and it could be a bad thing as well because of the traditional aspect. We've got the NFL, it's all a bit too commercialised. Like I was at a basketball game and there's a dance meter and all that. I think that's nonsense. But for others they probably enjoy that. But sometimes commercialisation and globalisation, it's taken away the traditional aspect of the sport. And that's all. Thank you, and I hope you've enjoyed our video.